I think it's time to start, and I am very excited here for this session. Uh, we are going to discuss the success blueprint for PIPO migration to SAP Integration Suite. I am moving on to the first slide, which is the introduction. To introduce myself, my name is Ameen Basha, and I take care of Integration Suite in McKinsol, and I take the role of uh, pre-sales and delivery manager here. And here in New Ways, we are a proud affiliate of McKinsol, and we specialize in delivering comprehensive SAP solutions, particularly for retail and fashion customers across the globe. And our mission is to empower business by transforming their digital landscape through innovative SAP services. And from implementation to optimization, we work closely with our clients to ensure their SAP environment supports both current operations and future growth. A key focus area for us in SAP is currently is SAP integration, and as business evolve, so does the need for seamless connection between systems. So that's where we expertise, SAP integration suites, and we help organizations to define and implement a robust integration strategy, ensuring their systems. And it's not that SAP, both SAP and non-SAP systems to work together smoothly. Our services cover system connection and consultation, API development and management, and aligning integrations with security compliance and governance standards. So we also specialize in data transformation and mapping, ensuring the data flows accurately and efficiently across the platforms. We also optimize integration performance so that process remain fast, reliable, and scalable. And one of our in most demand services is helping our clients, to migrate from SAP PIPO to the modern SAP integration suite. We provide end-to-end support through the migration journey and minimizing risk and ensuring the continuity. So that is McKinsol, and that is new ways for you. Moving on.
One question: what's the difference, or is it a subsidiary, or what's the?
Yes, News is a subsidiary of
Okay,
McKinsol,
okay,
and McKinsol primarily take care of all SAP services, where New is take care of the technology parts of it.
cool.
So here, from our extensive experience, one thing that is clear is migrating from SAP PIPO to SAP Integration Suite is not an easy feat, right? And it's far from a simple, straightforward process. In fact, we encounter significant challenges at nearly every stage of the journey. So technically, some of the most common complex issues arises during interface inventory analysis, and mapping object conversion, channel configuration, and designing the right flow and logic, right? And on top of that, the testing and validation is also involved here. But it doesn't stop here, because we also have the operational challenges that plays a big role. These includes the transport and deployment, monitor and setup, change impact analysis, documentation, and security handling. So, to cover these hurdles effectively, having the right tool and technologies is absolutely essential. That's where Figaf comes into picture. Figaf offers powerful compatibility or capability to support a smooth and successful PIPO migration journey through the SAP integration suite, and it's turning complexity into clarity. And today we are thrilled to have Daniel Graversen, the founder of Figaf and a leading SAP integration expert, with us. He is here to shed light on these challenges and how Figaf can help us on making a difference by mitigating these challenges. So, Daniel, thank you very much for joining us today. We are excited to have you here. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the participants.
Sure. Hi, my name is Daniel Graversen. I've been working with SAP integration for a long time, like 2004. And I guess in the last 9 years, the focus has been about how do we actually make it possible to work simpler with SAP integration, uh, trying to say, okay, what are all the different challenges SAP integration people are going through, trying to resolve them, and that's what the Figaf tool and brand is about, finding a way to simplify the journey. Obviously, a huge part of this is migration because, yeah, we have the 2027 deadline that most customer needs to find a way to deal with, at least on the integration suite side or PIPO side. There's some other journeys that's also really important, and this just feeds into a big challenge about all the different things that is supposed to be or is going on in the landscape with S4 journeys, all these things, and it just means that there is a need for automating a lot of these things, trying to make it as easy as possible. So yes, thanks for inviting me to this session and share my insights. And definitely there's a lot of these capabilities. We have a lot to simplify.
Yeah, thank you for bringing up that time constraint point, because we understand, apart from the other challenges that we have one more on top, that is our time crunch. That's making another pressure on this migration platform, right?
Yeah,
So moving on to the next slide, we are seeing our first area of challenge that we are facing most of the time. So um, is most underestimated, right? Step in SAP PIPO migration is that the journey with interface inventory analysis. It may look simple, but it is not. No, It's just to find out what integration exit, but really this step can quickly become overwhelming if we are not handling in a correct way. Okay,
yeah,
and currently from our experience we have seen there are challenges like limited global insight oversight, and inconsistent metadata structure, and high manual workload, and unidentified system interconnections, creation of asset reports, and absence of unified documentation here. With a clean interface inventory, your risk is migrating redundant interfaces, missing critical ones, and underestimating the migration workload. So, Daniel, could you please help us on how Figaf can handle these challenges effectively, to bring a successful print up blueprint here?
sure. Yes, so I guess, yeah, you cannot really do anything with things you cannot see. And I think obviously the first part is to do the SAP's migration assessment, but as I see it, it only covers part of this picture. So you've been using Integration Suite for 10, 20 years. There is going to be a lot of garbage in it. And yeah, without having a good way of filtering through all of this and figure out does it actually matter, you're going to migrate something that does not belong in your landscape anymore. And that's one of the first components is obviously create a good inventory report. So I think we have one of the best reports on your PI landscape. What are all the connections? What are active adapters? Everything is just bundled into one one um, report. You can see everything inside of it. It is not going to tell you whether or not you can migrate it, but it is just a really good way to filter through the landscape. And we've seen a lot of customers that are also doing um, importing or exporting some of this data. But the key is all the joining and all the different endpoints you can actually explore with this. And this is what the report is about.
Thank you very much, Daniel. So I forgot to mention one thing. On each slide, we are planning to take two questions initially. Then, as and when we get more questions, probably we can respond to you through email on that. No, this is just considering the time. Uh, Meanwhile, we got a question. So, how does Figaf assist in interface inventory analysis?
Yep. So it is about just trying to take each ICO receiver determination, find all the data we have about it, and then split it out and simplify this journey. Yeah, but it is going to be manual effort to go through this list. So if you have 2,000 interfaces, it will take you a little while. Um,
Thank you very much.
and what data does it extract? Yes, so it does go through, how to say, yeah, all the different components you have. So when we are building or connecting to the integration suite, we are extracting all the data. We are doing all the links. So that means we're having an ICO that is linked to an operation mapping, that's linked to a methods mapping, that's linked to a data type or methods type. You can actually go through and search in all these criteria, and then we'll be able to see that in just one line. So yeah, it has all the details.
Got it. Thank you very much. Hope that answers that. And the next question, or the last question for this slide, is what specific data does Figure
That was
extract
just what I
during?
tried.
Oh, okay. You already answered that. Sorry for that.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So moving on to the next slide. Okay, so mapping object conversion. Now as we continue to explore the key SAP PIPO migration challenges, right? One of the most technically demanding step in this migration is mapping object conversion. Mappings are the heart of the integration logic, and converting them accurately is critical for migration of success. And but this is where many teams hit a wall, where we miss most of the things, because the underlying challenges with these are like varied mapping formats, lack of native integration, complex udf and customer scripts, that is custom scripts that are written, and potential logic gaps, and labor incentive, and slow, like it's very being very slow due to the performance. And Daniel, just show some light on how Figaf can handle these challenges and help us in successful migration.
So I think that the main part of this is that we have our own logic to convert integrations. So we take ICO, use all of this model we have. We build a graph model, and then from this graph model, we can then build iFlows. And this was what we started back in 2021 with, and we have then been iterating on this quite a lot because the devil is in the details. It is the part that where you say, okay, we have as a customer, we have this small problem, then we are able to fix it and resolve these different areas. Um, and yeah, so one of the big areas is also function libraries or UDFs that you have, and those are custom coding. We're converting all of those to Groovy, but you can also use SAP's function library model, and that's just give you multiple different ways to support different scenarios. And that means that sometimes it's going to work a lot better because you can do it in any way that these capabilities works in.
Thank you very much. And we can open for any questions on this slide.
So what type of objects mappings can be converted? So we do message mappings, obviously the highest value that you have in content, and coming from PI, this is where you spend most of the time. It's going to be in those scenarios. XSLTs is generally pretty easy unless they have Java code in. We don't do anything with those. And then you have something about Java code that is where you can do something, but ideally you want to recreate that in Groovy because that's just going to be easier. And ABAP, we don't really want to touch those things. Um, what type of adapters it supports? So I think that's more for the next couple of slides where we are going into connectivity options. Yep.
Okay, thank you very much.
How does Figaf ensure to be have so the the best way to ensure that everything works smoothly is to do testing. So I think because yeah, we are going to make mistakes in these things. You can only find out with actually being testing these and finding out where to modify these. I hope we have some slide on testing, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, we do have, yeah.
Okay, cool.
We'll put on it, yeah. Well, moving on with that question. So, so one thing, here, like, channels are the lifelines of this integration. I hope you agree for that, Daniel. So if these if these channels are like, these are the channels that it talks to each other, inter integration. Okay, if there any mess up there on that channels, the probably it will be a big challenge, to handle the entire integration part. But the underlying challenges within that channel configuration that we have seen is like adapter variations, like, as you have seen the adapters which are available there in the PIPO, maybe the same type of adapters may not be available on SAP Integration Suite, exact match, and endpoint and connection modifications, and authentication of transfers, and we have hands-on adjustments where manual work and rework is being done there, and we have configuration of error risk there. So how Figaf can help us in handling these challenges?
Yes, so yeah, obviously you want to connect, and if you're not really connect, there's no point in having a good mapping. And there is significant difference between the adapters. They're built in different ways, 20 years difference. Some adapters does not exist in integration suite like file for obvious reasons. I know that they are building something that supported but anyway, it's different ways of processing the adapters and handling them, and that's obviously something to bear in mind. When we migrate with the Figaf tool, we have a set of templates that you can go in and say, hey, we have this we know when we're converting from this file adapter to this SFTP, this is how we're going to be it. So we have delivered some templates. You probably will need to configure these because you have a different structure, or you're using Edge, you're using something else. And that means that you can go in, make a modification to this, and then you have a much better option to support the migration in the right way. We're not support adding new adapters, but SAP have a good roadmap of adding new adapters. But I guess in a migration perspective, that's probably not as relevant because they are uh, newer adapters that you did not have in your PI Vault.
Got it. Yep. Taking up some questions on this slide. Have any questions?
So how does Figaf handle unsupported and complex channels? So that is obviously one of the big challenges. If you have an adapter like OFTP, if you're in the automotive industry, that was really used there, it's like you're kind of screwed. You would have to go find a workaround as a part of your migration and say, okay, now we will use one of the other platforms to do this OFTP, but everything else would handle inside of the adapter. If it's more a technical adapter, you can do some adjustments and trying to see, okay, can we actually instead of the rest use an HTTP adapter or something like that. So there is some adjustments you can do in this process, but at the end of the day, when you're doing your assessment, you should also find, okay, so we are doing communication with protocol set. how do we actually, can we actually do this, or is that a no-go? Cool.
Uh, Hope that answers that question. We'll wait for one more question here. If not, we'll move on.
Yeah, I think we support most of them, but which adapters we support? We support most of the adapters, but obviously, uh, the more, yeah, more used, and you probably will create your own template if you're doing a large scale migration. Otherwise, yeah, it does make sense. Cool.
Well, moving on to the next slide. So we discussed about the channel, okay, and the internal parts of the channels or flows and logic, if I'm correct, and interfaces and the mapping are important, and the flow which are within that, like the routing, the decisions, the transformations, and the sequence that determines how your business process has been running. So that is most important thing too, right? So we, from our experience, we have seen some challenges, like primarily the BPM to CPA constraints, and the message splitting, and flow control, and limited reuse, and exception management primarily, and how we validate the functional equivalences here. So how does the entire testing logical parity happens here. So those are the areas that we have seen as major challenges within the flow and logic, and hopefully we have this managing or mitigating or mechanism within Figaf for handling all these things, right?
I would say hopefully. So obviously we're talking about CCBPM, BPMN, or all these flows. It is using a similar structure, but yeah, everybody asks, can we migrate this? And the answer is going to be no. Even if obviously I have been considering, could we actually do this? It's just going to be two different data models. Even though they look the same, they have way too much difference underneath it, so it's not really gonna work out. Um, but when you're just looking at normal iFlows and what you can do there, um, we try to do the benefit of working with a PIPO system is that you're really restricted in what you can do. And that means that it becomes easier to do a migration because you can say, okay, if we have these steps, we go do this logic. And then it comes back to the evolution of the tool. We can actually go and create different versions when we figure out, okay, we need to add something more in this. And that hopefully reduces some of the time consuming part, like adding parameters, setting parameters, multi-mapping splits, partnered pipeline concepts. All of these things is supported by this. Yep.
Well, thank you very much for that. Any questions that we can take on this slide?
Yes, yeah, we do not support. So in the assessment report, we can see that if you're using uh, BPMN models, and if they're connected to an interface, then you should obviously go and tag it. CCBPM, we did not really want to touch.
So CCPM is something that is a kind of, we can call it as a limitation, right? From
Yeah,
Frigaf's purpose.
but I guess so. I guess this has been support. I don't know if it's still supported, but it is really old technology, so I would probably not cry too much about it. Good.
So and, let's take one more question here.
Yes, so when we click the migrate, we can convert directly ICOs or receiver determinations directly into fully running iFlows with error handling, stuff like that, um, built into it. So that's just part of the simplifying approach that we have. Good. Next.
Well, thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
Can we move on to the next slide? Well, here comes the big
There
fish.
comes the testing.
Yeah, yeah. No, as you all know, testing and validation are most important thing. Although we have a lot of other phases that that we'll be working and handling challenges, but this one phase, that is where we actually get the confidence of our migration. So we need to make sure that we have a proper way of testing here. Not just testing, it also includes the data and how we are validating and all those things. So most of the time then we face the challenges is primarily the test data, how we get the test data from the PIPO that can be reused in SAP Integration Suite. Then we are working on behavioral variations like functional differences on how it works on PIPO and how it's supposed to work on SAP Integration Suite. Although uh, we need to make sure that purpose is the same, but there is a definitely there is a variation how these two behaves, right? And missing automated checks there, and again we comes within that regulatory and audit requirements that is required to make sure that we have everything in place when tomorrow there is a audit coming in, to make sure that we are compliant about that.
Yeah.
So I have noticed from my experience with Figaf, Figaf is most of time is focused on testing each and every phase, right? Considering the test cases and the data. Even last week when we had uh, the the webinar
The
with Figaf
training.
on
Yeah.
the training, we have noticed that this mostly focused towards the testing, and I understand why it is. That's the most challenging part of it. You can go ahead and talk about from your end.
So testing was the reason I started the Figaf product because PI developers do not really want to test. If we test, it is about going in and asking the business consultant, okay, can you create this test message? And they would then create a test message, send it, it and when you ask a business consultant to create a test, they would create the one with one line item. And we all know that you're only getting these problems when you're sending an invoice on 10 items with three different product types and all these different things. And that's the part where your integration fails. And that's the part we want. So my initial idea when building this was I wanted to get data from my productive system. I wanted to send them through my development system and thereby be able to get the confidence to say, okay, yes, now it works. So that was kind of the whole thing. And when we're talking about migration, if you go out as a business consultant and do or try to convince your business that we are going to migrate to this new integration suite platform, they would probably say, I have no time to do testing. Go, yeah, go do it yourself or something like that. And then that is where the Figaf tool comes in and say, okay, hey, we can actually fetch a lot of your productive messages of the QA system, reuse them as a part of the testing to ensure that everything inside of the integration works correctly. There's obviously going to be some things about figuring out how do we connect externally, stuff like that. But that's kind of the focus. I hope that you got the passion.
Yeah.
Any
So
questions?
yes, any questions?
So we have so what kind of test cases can we create with GovTool? So we do have a number of different tests that we can create. Primarily when we're talking about integration suite, it is the migration, it is about finding some messages from the PI system, send the same messages in, and then hopefully that creates the same results. We also have other types of tests where you're just taking a direct test case from an iFlow and reusing that. And that's obviously also important when you're working with your integration to actually ensure everything works as expected. Yes. Does Figaf support regression test after changes in CPI flow? And yes, I, it. I think that's one of the overlooked uh, example. So a lot of times when you're doing a migration project, you have a consulting team come in and do your migration. And then they would do the migration. They would say, hey, we have done the test and everything like that. They would leave. Maybe you got a support agreement with them afterwards. But otherwise, it's really difficult to know why how an interface works. And that's the reason why you want to have a test case that all developers can just click play and then it will process and you'll get the results.
Hope that answers the question.
Yep. What's the best practices for testing and validating data consisting during SAP integration with third-party system, especially when using middlewares like CPI and PIPO? I think so. Obviously, you want to also consider the end-to-end test, have a tool like Tricentis that can do those things. But as an integration developer, I would really love to have these test cases that I can just run and understand how a specific iFlow is supposed to function before I try to figure out how I do create this purchase order that triggers the message that does this. So it's just about convenience for developers and creating these test cases and always ensure that they are relevant because yeah, otherwise it's going to screw everything up. Cool.
Well, thank you very much. Considering time, we will be moving on to the next slide. Well, here comes the operational challenges. This is what we are going to start from is transport and deployment. One of the most operationally sensitive phase of any migration is transport and deployment. Getting your newly migrated interfaces into QA, pre-prod, and eventually even the production environments. While this may sound like a technical formality, it actually one of the most error-prone and risk-laden stages of migration that what we have seen. And the underlying challenges with this is like there are limited transport control in CPI. It's what we noticed, and we also noticed immature and challenging TMS handling and deployment risk due to manual steps. There are a lot of manual steps involved and missing version tracking, variables which are environment specific. And we also have a lack of audit trail, which is absence of deployment history. So how Figaf can help here, Daniel?
So obviously I could talk about this for half an hour. So let's try to do the short thing. So in the Figaf tool, we built a transport tool on the basis that we wanted to ensure that we could move on iFlow from dev QA to production. We did not, and as a part of this transport process, just like with our PI, it is about having a way to ensure that externalized parameters is configured correctly, that you don't have to manual steps. And that's what we have added, the ability to actually remove all these manual QA step, give the developers the tools and assets that they need to ensure that. And that's kind of the main part of it. One key aspect also is this, if you have smaller landscapes, like less than 200 integrations, a lot of customers would be reusing dev also for QA. And a part of the Figaf tool also allows you to do that. So you can actually have full governance of these scenarios without sacrificing on the transports.
Got it.
Shop. Cool. Any questions?
I'm just looking if you have any questions.
Can Figaf handle transport across multiple tenants environment? Yes. We started out reusing on the same tenant, but obviously most of the time you would have like a non-prod and a prod tenant. There's a lot of variations that you can create, and I think we support all the different ones that you are going to have. And obviously, if you go to support and maintenance and stuff like that project, it adds some complexity. I think we're still able to handle it, but without the Figaf tool, you would not have any way of managing these things.
Any more questions?
So if the Figaf handles accidental or untested deployments. So as a part of this, we do have when we are approving transport, we have like a 4I principle that you need someone else to approve your transport. We also have that in your transport request, you add the test cases, and that makes it easy for the approver to see did they actually test what's supposed to going on here. Um, and then what specific objects can we transport? So I think we can transport them, all of them. We have not added support for data types and message types because I'm not really sure where they would fit into a journey. But all other objects we should be able to transport, govern, version control, all these things on it. Cool.
Got it. Well, moving on. Change impact analysis. One more, operational challenge. As part of our SAP PIPO to integration with migration, activities which are related to change impact analysis are important. As part of our auditing purpose as well. It's simple terms, the process of understanding if we change or migrate something, what else could break, right? And without proper tools, that question becomes incredibly hard to answer, right? And the challenges again, within these are, unclear dependency mapping that we have, and hidden reuse of objects, and lack of centralized metadata, and manual analysis, that is where this time is consumed a lot. And we also have automated impact assessment that is available on the platforms. So how Figaf do you think that can pitch in here and help us?
So one of the things is obviously when you're approving your transport, you can go in and see what was actually changed in an iFlow. We have that both graphical and an HTML div, making it easy for you to scale these things. We also have the ability to, yeah, if there's a dependency, an iFlow that is using a script collection, we can see those information and we'll give a warning saying, hey, this is going to go on. There's landscapes comparison so you can see what you're missing to move into production. There's a lot of things around this topic.
Got it. So any questions here?
Yes, so can Figaf use identify all interfaces that are using a shared mapping? Yes, so we do have in the Figaf tool, we have a lot of linkings in place. That means that if you have an iFlow that's using a shared mapping or a script collection, we can see go to the script collection and we can see all the where used of this thing. Same with security credentials. All of those are linked.
Hope that answered the question. And so considering the time, we are moving on to the next slide. As our team works through the technical task of migrating with SAP PIPU to SAP Integration Suite, one critical thing that often get postponed, that is sometimes completely overlooked, that is documentation and audit readiness. So, but in a real world enterprise environments, incomplete documentation can delay, go lives, and even missing audit trails can raise red flags, complaint checks. So, what we have noticed, the underlying challenges within these are, missing unified, documentation hub, uh, and we have seen that high manual workload here, and compliance audit demands increasing here, and there's no record of change history again. So I'm sure that we have a solution for this in Figaf. uh, how Just wanted to understand how that works in Figaf.
So I don't think that any project has been delayed because of lack of documentation. but it is definitely clearly a wrong flag that is being said that if you do not have all the documentations going on, I really believe it's important. My first job in university was in a audit firm, and we looked at these things. And when I came to the SAP world and integration suite or PI worlds, like here's a document you have no clue about change history, no things, and then it's like when we got the data and we could start building these things, it really becomes interesting that you have all of these audit history. You can see who made a change at a specific iFlow. You can go back and say, hey, why did we change the iFlow at this point in time? And you can see the JIRA and see that this guy requested it, and then you can go and ask why. So it's about having this all audit trail, and that's what we are providing in the tool.
Got it.
And I could, yeah, also talk a long time about this.
Oh, yeah.
What audit do we track during migration? So, as a part of migration, it is obviously a little difficult in the migration, but one of the things that we do have is a clear mapping about this IQ is converted into this iFlow. You can see what test data you have, what is tested. So there is some tracking about what's going on in a migration that you can see everything that goes on. So there's some details there. Cool.
You have any more questions? Like,
Okay. Cool.
we have one more question. It seems like, can Figaf track over time in migrated editor flows?
Ah, yes. Okay, sorry, I forgot that one. I saw. Yes, so we do have when we're looking at an iFlow, we can see the full version history, so we can see who made changes to it. We can see if they create a ticket to transport it, and version compare this without having to go back and forth, change versions. And that greatly simplifies your ability to actually understand what's going on, why something was changed.
Any more questions on this slide? Okay, I think considering the time, we can move on to the next one. The most sensitive part, security handling. Not just for migration, for any project, any implementation, even for new implementation, this is a very sensitive area. Well, it's not just encrypting data. It's all about authenticating systems, protecting credentials, and managing certificates, and ensuring compliance. And during migration, even small missteps in this area can lead to major risk. And the common challenges that we have here, that we have seen, is authentication of data transfer, and improper credentials, and digital certificate management, and we also have authentication method gaps here. And again, there is no central visibility on how this the data has been handled, especially the security data.
Yes.
How
And I
how
think
Figure again can help us in mitigating these?
I think that this is one of the places where you will put in a password at some point and you have no clue and you're just getting a 445 of 43 error back or 500 error back and you have no clue and you're sitting 3 days and just looking at the screen and completely, yeah, blank. Um, so it is obviously important. We do have some capability inside of the Figaf tool to govern these passwords and security artifact, have it as a part of the transport to ensure that once you transport an iFlow that you do have the credentials in. Um, but obviously it is limited what we can do. Also because yeah, the sensitivity of this area. Um, Having these password in a secured way makes it a little more complicated.
Yeah, I understand that this is most sensitive area. Well, any questions on this? So probably a question from my end, no, until we get one. So do we have any roadmap on bringing more capabilities with security handling in the future with Figaf?
And there's definitely some like when you're transporting that you can approve these things, but I guess the part about security and passwords is also this thing. What is really the best way to keep them and manage and updating them? Um, Now we got Edge, which makes that we need to change how we're setting up these passwords. So it's definitely one of the a little more challenging areas that we have, and where I don't know, have a completely clear roadmap about balancing these things. There's obviously things I'd like to do, like also see the service keys, certificates, get the expiration dates on these things, but it is also, yeah, adding a lot of complexity to it.
Yep, I got it. I got it. Well, we'll just see if you have any questions. And we can also open the floor for any other questions of any one of the participants having uh, with respect to FIGAF and challenges. Well, thank you very much, Daniel, for your time. I know you're a busy person, and it's a different time in Denmark, and you are we are being very helpful, with providing the insight about FIGAF and how it can help us in a successful migration, and to build a success blueprint here. And uh, you can reach out to us, if you would like to do a PIPO migration to SAP Integration Suite. We are here to help. New Ways, you can contact us anytime at contact@newways.com. So you can reach out to us and we can build. Okay. Well, thank you very much again for your time. And I think we give back 10 minutes to you, and have a great time.
Thanks. Thanks for having
Thanks,
me.
Dan.